So this is the Good Ride review of the Airblaster Dayze parka, and it's brought to you courtesy of Gravity Sports at Mount Bachelor. And they let me do a little, try on, talk about the fit, feel, functionality, and see if it's right for you. In terms of construction, Airblaster usually does a really good job in when it comes to construction, especially at this price point. They're kind of in that one something to low threes, and at that price point it's kind of hard to really give that like impeccable $600 piece of super technical outerwear kind of construction, but it's really solid for this price point. I rarely if ever see any major errors, and the construction's always very, very smooth, very good. Just kind of exactly what you would expect. I don't think you would get pissy if you saw this. You can see kind of the fit. It does pretty well with my build, and you can see the specs down below. It's got some nice gaiters that when they're not on your hands, it almost feels like they're not there. And that's great for those like myself that don't really like gaiters, and those that love gaiters. Both sides will probably be happy. Let's talk about helmet compatibility. Little tight, but a nice seal going up the chair. It's going to be really hard to for any of the weather to get there, but turning left and right, it's a little tight. I'd love to see them go just, I think one of my only complaints about Airblaster is I'd love to see their helmets, the helmet compatibility just get a little better, have those things get a little bigger. You've got glove compatibility. It's kind of the same thing. Some might say you'd cut a corner here. For most though, you don't really. I find myself, I'd love it if this were just Velcro, but I can see why they did two snaps. Just one for wearing it tight and without gloves, and one for with the gloves over, so I can get my Burton AK guide glove over it. And it works fine. Nice to get that helmet off too. You've got two pretty big pockets here with a pretty thick, almost slightly coarse fleece. And then just the nice, smooth kind of taffeta style lining in there. This material feels really good. It's got like a sheen to it that doesn't maybe quite pick up in this video or in the pictures they show, but in person, it does that army green really well. It's kind of like a shiny army green almost in some ways. Not over the top though. So you've got those two pockets. You've got a great well done media pocket, just like the trench over jacket I had that I loved. Except it zips on the outside instead of my trench over I had to zip down and get in. But that's a great fit. You've got just good old meshed pit zips, kind of expected at this price point. The zipper goes up and down pretty easy, even though it seems kind of small. Got a fixed powder skirt. What is this? Secret surprise inside? No, I'm gonna leave that to you, good readers, to find out what it is. You've got just, your basic goggle pocket. And it doesn't really seem like there's any kind of real jacket to pant interface. There is a powder skirt, and that's cool. And then I love how they did the liner in here. It's kind of like barely mesh. It's more taffeta than mesh. And there's some decent insulation here. 60G of insulation, and it feels like a warm jacket for me. It's definitely not as warm as the Grampy jacket, and or the Grampy. That one's a lot warmer, but this one definitely helps decrease your layering underneath if you run cold or ride in cold areas. And as far as waterproofing and breathability goes, I believe it's 10K, and I found that Airblaster does a good job You know, when they say the waterproofing and breathability is going to be this, it is that. So there you have it.